you're starting out as a small business, your inbox is everything. It's a project management tool, it's a CRM. Most of these entrepreneurs are spending countless hours in their inbox. I like to call in my industry the golden rule of 25. What's something that happens more than 25 times a day in your day-to-day that you can automate? That's really when automation and AI produces the most ROI.
Today, we're unpacking a silent productivity killer for SMEs inbox, overload, and the operational chaos that is hidden inside the email.
The number one thing I see the most that is an absolute time killer is follow-ups. We're launching Clarity Sales to keep the deal moving forward by sending polite on-brand messages. That way you have more time to focus on the activities that drive impact.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Today, we're unpacking a silent productivity killer for SMEs inbox, just inbox overload and the operational chaos that is hidden inside the email. Joining us to discuss this is Marcus Chang, the co-founder of Clarity Inbox, a go-to-market leader focused on using AI to turn inboxes into execution engines, not bottlenecks. In this episode, we'll explore why AI adoption is stalling, the real cost of inbox-driven workflows, and how AI can move from suggesting work to actually getting it done. So without further ado, let's welcome Marcus. Marcus, we're very pleased to have you on this show today. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Very pleased to have you with us. Now, Marcus, you've observed that for most small businesses, the inbox isn't just for communication. It has effectively become their CRM, scheduler, and project manager. Tell us, when most owners, when they don't really view inbox as a formal business system, why is email actually the biggest operational bottleneck for small businesses today?
Yeah. So my co-founder and I, we are really around a large circle of entrepreneurs, and every day, they're really trying to get the most out of your inbox. But when you're starting out as a small business, your inbox is everything. It's a project management tool. It's a CRM. It's where you talk to your customers every day. And we would see that day in and day out, most of these entrepreneurs were spending countless hours in their inbox. So we really dove into what was happening behind the scenes. What were they spending so much time on their inbox on? And then we realized that a lot of the communications they get in their inbox was all the same. Same customer inquiries, same FAQs. And that's when we kind of got together and realized, okay, there's definitely an opportunity to help out a lot of entrepreneurs here.
Right. Now, that is such a critical insight, really, Marcus. And it highlights that unmanaged email is often where high-value revenue opportunities and execution focus go to die. Now, let's explore why the massive hype around AI isn't always translating into results for the average owner. Despite AI being everywhere, Marcus, many small businesses, many mid-sized businesses, they are struggling to find tools that deliver tangible value. With all this hype around right now, why do most AI tools still fail to deliver meaningful results or save real time for small business owners?
Yeah, so I think this is a two-folded equation. There's one McKinsey study that I saw recently that in 2025, since OpenAI became mainstream, about 85% of AI implementations failed. And I'm pretty sure that when the executives are exposed to new groundbreaking technology, your first knee-jerk reaction is, how do we incorporate this? How do we get the most ROI for our shareholders? That's on the enterprise side. Now, small businesses, I think a lot of them were still experimenting with tools like ChatGPT, Claude, and for the most part, if you talk to most owners, they'll say, it's a great tool, but at the end of the day, it's almost like a chatbot with a conscience, right? So then, when it comes to small businesses, I think the most practical thing they can do now moving into 2026 is can you look at an AI solution that actually performs a task for you versus just summarizes notes or, is somewhat of a glorified knowledge agent? I think the most practical use cases that are really going to come out of this year is an AI that carries out the task and the operation for you.
That's a very pragmatic reality check, Marcus, and it proves that complexity is the enemy of adoption when you're really trying to run a lean operation out there. Now let's look at what the solution looks like when you pivot from theory to execution. Marcus, you advocate for a shift towards execution-focused AI systems that don't just tell you what to do, but actually do the work for you. Tell us, what does this practical real-world AI actually look like for a small business owner in 2026, and how can they safely delegate work without technical complexity?
Yeah. I'd love to make a contrast here. So in my most recent role, we helped a lot of enterprises with AI implementations on the software side. And the reality for a lot of these enterprises is they had massive budgets, $1 million budgets with solution engineers, product managers, data engineers, the entire plethora of talent to make these AI projects succeed. Now you compare that to the ground level with small business owners, they don't have access to the same resources. So when it comes to practicality, are there solutions out there that can really just do the work versus just, summarize notes, as I mentioned before, or is something that's a bit more of a chatbot? So in terms of what that looks like, I would say for small business owners, what's something that I like to call in my industry the golden rule of 25? What's something that happens more than 25 times a day in your day-to-day that you can automate? That's really when automation and AI produces the most ROI.
Right. Now, that is such a game changer, really, for productivity per se. And it emphasizes that AI should be an invisible assistant that clears the plate rather than adding more work to it. Listeners, if you are drowning in follow-ups, then please learn from this conversation that we had with Marcus about how to automate the operational work hidden in your email, why your inbox is your biggest bottleneck, and how to reclaim your time using AI that actually executes your tasks. We'll take a quick break here. Please don't go anywhere, because when we're back, we'll look into how Clarity Sales OS protects revenue right inside your inbox.
Hey, you think you know UPS? Yeah, that's us. Everybody knows that. You know what you didn't know? This. Okay, try to keep up. Ocean, us. Ground, rail, air, so us. Guess who? Us. Customs cleared, borders cleared, done. Us. Still with me? Wait for it. Boom. Us. Intelligent, automated, fulfillment. Us. Yep. Healthcare too. Digital your thing? Yeah. Well, book it, ship it, track it. You feeling me yet? Yep. That's all us. That's all UPS.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's jump straight into how Marcus is turning email from a bottleneck into a revenue engine. Now, building on that execution, Marcus, let's talk about the specific tools that you are launching to protect revenue. You're about to launch Clarity Sales OS, specifically designed to keep deals moving directly inside Gmail without the manual effort. Tell us, how does this tool help prevent revenue from slipping through the cracks by automating follow-ups and prioritizing inbound nurture?
Yeah. So I've spent about the last 20 years in B2B sales. And, I've worked on the SDR side all the way up to, VP of sales management side. And the number one thing I see the most that is an absolute time killer is follow-ups. We live in an attention economy, and everyone is constantly being, to some degree exposed to distractions. So when you're following up with prospects, I probably saw, multiple teams and reps exposed to this day in and day out. The amount of times that they would have to follow up the prospect for a requirement, the amount of times they had to follow up their prospect for an answer on the next step. So we really took this as an opportunity to say, okay, as a small business owner, you're the face of your company, you're definitely the salesperson, and you're working within your inbox. What can we do within your inbox to automate that you're already doing day to day?
Right.
So we took that and we're going to be launching Clarity Sales, which really just helps nurture your pipeline and keep the deal moving forward by sending polite on-brand messages to your prospects. That way you have more time back in your day to focus on the activities that really drive impact.
That is such an essential tool for growth, really, Marcus. And it confirms that automated consistency is often the difference between a lost lead and a closed won deal. Finally, let's look at the broader perspective on how owners should really think about their future tech stack. Marcus, you have such a strong belief that small businesses shouldn't be really focused on deep technical architecture, but on the results the software provides. As you look towards the future, how should business owners evaluate new tech to ensure that they are buying outcomes rather than just adding another subscription to the bill?
Yeah, that's great. I think when you look at evaluating new technology, there's some really fundamental questions that you should be asking yourself before you go out and start shortlisting tools. And it's, does this tool add more complexity to my life, or does it bring simplicity? And what that looks like in practice is, if I'm spending 2 to 3 hours on this one task action per day, does this tool eliminate that? Or am I spending those 2 to 3 hours learning that tool just to automate that time back? And I see that day to day, on the enterprise scale even as well too. It's, we buy into this idea of an emergent technology. It's very sexy, right? The lore, and we romanticize the idea of these agents doing jobs for us. But at the end of the day, there's a lot behind the scenes that it actually takes in order to make it work. So I think getting back to the basics and asking yourself, does this really make my life easier, or does it bring more complexity?
That's such a powerful guiding principle right there, Marcus. And it confirms that clarity of purpose is the most important factor, and specifically when you're integrating any new tool into your business. This was such a great conversation. Thank you so much for what you do and such great tools that you're bringing into the market, Marcus. Now, if you were to wrap up now, one piece of advice or a core message that you want listeners to really take away about reclaiming their time from their inbox this year, what would it be?
I would say to the golden rule of 25, if there's a message, a draft, a type of interaction that you're doing more than 25 times a day, try Clarity Inbox. It learns your tone, your voice, and automates some of the things that you do day to day. So that way you can have more time back in your life.
That was powerful and a very actionable message. Marcus, thank you so much again for being on the show with us. Thank you again for sharing such great expertise and your insights.
Thanks for having me. It was great to be here.
And that was an insightful conversation with Marcus Chang, the co-founder at Clarity Inbox. In this episode, we explored the hidden cost of inbox overload, why AI adoption stalls, and the future of execution-focused automation for small businesses. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. Please be sure to subscribe for more expert insights and visit our website, canadiansme.ca, for valuable resources. A special shout out to our partners, UPS, A1 Global College, ADP, and Google for their ongoing commitment to empowering small businesses here in Canada. Until next time, please keep innovating and striving for success. We'll see you in the next episode.